what's up everyone? This is Nick at Stridewise.com. Today I'm reviewing the very dressy Chester boot from Jack Erwin. So Jack Erwin was founded by Ariel and Gerson back in 2013, and they said when they founded the company they wanted to build a brand that was focused not on chasing trends, but instead on perfecting a consistent, reliable offering. And more importantly, they said they wanted to do it at prices they could relate to. So in other words, they make pretty cheap boots. They are largely a direct-to-consumer brand. They do have a store here in New York City, which is where I bought this pair here. But by and large, everything they do is online, which helps to cut down on production costs. Although right now they don't ship overseas, so international people are out of luck, although that could always change in the future. And every time I hear Jack Erwin, I always hear the Chester boot. And this here is the basic black version. It's the most popular version of the boot. So let's take a closer look. All right, so this is the Chester boot. So I got it in black because it is a New Yorkie kind of brand. It's also available in brown. And the guy at the store told me that black is the most popular color, and I just buy whatever's popular because I am basic. And the appearance is obviously pretty sleek, pretty slim. I would say a little bit too slim, which I'm going to discuss in more detail in the fit and sizing section. But yeah, it's a very kind of understated boot. It is also pretty compact in that the shaft doesn't go very, very high, and the heel is also doesn't go very high either. So relatively compact for a boot like this. The most notable feature is the toe cap. Sometimes that can make a boot less formal, like I'm thinking about the Red Wing Iron Ranger, which definitely has a very bulbous kind of toe cap. But this is definitely the kind of shoe that I think, personally, is one of the few boots out there that could go pretty well with a suit. So with the Chester boot, Jack Erwin sourced the leather from France, and the boot is constructed in Spain. Sometimes the boots are made in Portugal, but these ones are made in Spain. And we are talking about full grain calfskin leather. I think it's been corrected a little bit, like it's pretty smooth, but calfskin is usually pretty smooth anyway. And it's like pretty formal, dressy leather, but it's not so dressy that it can't be worn with like just some gray or blue khakis or some nice dark jeans, which is nice. You know, they're not, you can wear them with a suit, but they aren't restricted to a suit. So that is something I want to point out. And when you're comparing calfskin and cowhide, like leather from a grown-up cow, the difference is that, I mean, a lot of people say cowhide is more masculine. I would just say that cowhide has more of an appearance of durability, whereas calfskin appears more delicate. And I do want to say appear because ounce for ounce calfskin may actually have more tensile strength because the fibers are closer together, but it still gets considered more of a delicate leather, so you see it more often in dress boots. Another big bonus with calfskin is that it wrinkles more finely as it ages, which is nice. And this is vegetable tanned. So that means that it's processed using tannic acids found in plants and tree bark and stuff like that. It does take more time to do, but it is a bit more environmentally friendly than something like chrome tanning, which has really messed up some areas of India and Bangladesh. Vegetable tanning is generally considered to be better for the environment and to age better. And with this boot though, I should say the leather doesn't feel amazing. And this is a pretty common complaint, that they don't age very, very well. I can't attest to that myself. I haven't had these for years and years and years. I've just been wearing them for a few weeks, but it is already wrinkling pretty noticeably. And I wouldn't be surprised if these don't wind up my most long-lasting boots. So how often you take care of these boots really kind of depends on how distressed you want the leather to look. Because I do think these can fit into a lot of informal situations. So, you know, it's not always super paramount that they look always perfectly well conditioned and everything like that. But if you want to keep them looking good enough to wear with a suit, you're going to want to use Venetian shoe cream probably every couple of months, depending on how often you wear them. It's a super, super common product used to condition leather. Helps to keep it moist. It helps a little bit to protect it against the elements. One of the things Jack Erwin told me is that you always want to use a horsehair brush to condition these. There's a couple of reasons for that. I mean, horsehair brushes are very, very common tools to take care of boots. Partly because when you brush it very vigorously, it helps to warm up the boot, which helps to move around oils and waxes inside the leather, and that helps to do a better job of getting rid of like scrapes and scuffs and things like that. But also the hair is so thin that it helps to push the polish deeper into the little pores of these boots. So that's something you're going to want to keep in mind. A horsehair brush is strongly recommended. If you're going to take these out, if you want to waterproof them, I should point out that a lot of people think it's kind of a sin to waterproof nice calfskin boots like these. Especially these kind of boots aren't really the kind of boots you want to take hiking in. You don't want to take them into the jungle. They can be used in not so dressy situations, but nonetheless, they're not the most weather resistant boots out there. But if you want to waterproof them, they recommend the products from Coach or Cole Haan. Those are the ones, the official recommendations that I got from Jack Erwin themselves. And finally, I was told very sternly, in no uncertain terms, always use shoe trees. So this is a pretty basic rubber sole. It's medium density. Jack Erwin is clearly trying to make you think of day-night when you look at it, especially with these studs, but this seems to be their own rubber, which is one of the reasons this is a cheaper boot, because day-night and Vibram soles can really jack up the price of a boot. And after the rubber outsole, you've got a stacked wooden heel. I would have liked leather for like a bit more shock absorption, to be honest. The shock absorption isn't amazing. And there's also a padded leather insock. So when it comes to the welting, the guy in this store in Midtown East told me this is Blake stitched, but Jack Erwin's website says it's Goodyear welted, and I was very confused until I read the bottom of the shoe that does indeed say right here that it is Goodyear welted. So that means there's a layer between the upper and the sole, which makes the shoe a lot easier to resole, and it also makes it a bit more water resistant as well. So some guys will find that to be an unusual bonus for a dress shoe, and some guys will be disappointed because it is indeed common for dressier boots to be Blake stitched, which is when the upper is sewn directly to the sole, because that makes for like a more flexible sole and looks a bit more formal. So it depends on what you like. This is not as flexible as a Blake stitch by any means, but nonetheless, it's a pretty hard wearing sole for a dress boot. So this information can always change, but right now, these boots run in sizes 7 through 14, which is a pretty wide variety of sizes, but they're only available in D width, which is considered the normal width, which I happen to be. But shoes also run in widths like E, double E, and triple E. If you are any of those, I am comfortable saying these will be uncomfortable on you because they honestly weren't that comfortable on me either. A pretty common complaint with these boots is the fit. They're very sleek, they're very slim kind of boots, which is, not unheard of with more formal dressier boots. But I think they're a bit too slim. It really felt like, particularly on my pinky toe more than anywhere else, it felt like it was kind of getting mashed a little bit against the side. And again, that's a common complaint. I'm not the only person that says that. I have lent these to some people with the same shoe size as me, and I've gotten about a 50-50 response. Some say it's fine, some say they also feel that it's too tight in the pinky toes. So I don't really know, it depends. But there is a chance that you're gonna find these a little bit tight. So the good news is they have free returns though, if that is the case, but they don't have any other widths available, which again, I found a little frustrating. So in general, they're not the most comfortable of boots. Some people can handle it, but walking around in these in the first week or two, it wasn't that comfy, and especially for calfskin boots, that's pretty unusual. So yeah, definitely worth emphasizing. Now, the price is probably the most beloved aspect of these boots. Jack Erwin, as I mentioned earlier, is very well known for making very reasonably priced footwear, and the Chester boot is $220. That's what you're gonna pay in store. That's what you're gonna pay on Huckberry. And yeah, it is very reasonably priced. I mean, especially given the fact that these are European made with European leather and they're Goodyear welted. Normally for that, you're gonna pay like at least $350, $400, sometimes more than that for boots with those qualities. I'm not saying these are as high quality as something like the Fry Jones Lace-Up, which is another dressy calfskin boot that I've reviewed in the past. But yeah, for these materials, $220, I'm pretty impressed. All right, so what did I like about the Jack Erwin Chester boot? I like the way they look. These are very nice dressy boots, but I think they would also go fine with like maybe some dark jeans or some khakis as well. They're pretty versatile in that regard. I'm not gonna say they're equal parts formal and informal because they are indisputably, they are dressy boots, but nonetheless, they are relatively versatile and then you can wear them with like other outfits that require a button down. So I like that aspect of the boots, especially because they're Goodyear welted, which that often produces a welt that's kind of chunky and doesn't look formal at all. But this is nice and subtle. And again, a Goodyear welt, that's a big pro as well. That means that it can easily be resoled, means it's pretty resistant to the elements. And finally, they're cheap. They're very, very inexpensive boots. I'm not gonna pretend that isn't the best quality of these boots. That's what they're very well known for, and they deserve that reputation. They are inexpensive boots with pretty good materials. All right, the downsides of the Chester boot. The biggest complaint that I have with this boot, as you could imagine, is the fit. I just didn't like the fit, I got the 11.5D, which is, that's the biggest my shoe size has ever been, and still, it was just a bit too narrow. It really kind of grated against my pinky toe. Now, that is a very individual thing. I need to say that. I can't universalize my experience. I do want to say that I have heard other complaints from other folks that say that they are too narrow, but as I said, I did give this to a couple of friends with similar shoe size to me. About half liked it, about half said it was too narrow. So you are gonna have a different experience to me, maybe, but I do wanna emphasize that. Another con, which is related to that, is that there's just one width available. I have never wanted to try an E-width more than I did with these boots, and I couldn't. So that was definitely a bit of a bummer as well. And then finally, the leather has a bit of a reputation for not aging super well. I think the leather looks fine. I've been walking around these for a while. They have creased a little bit, maybe a little bit more than I would have expected for the brief amount of time that I've had them. But I can't really attest to what they're going to look like after years and years of wear. So I can't say that personally I found the leather to age badly, but I have heard that complaint. All right, those are my thoughts on the Chester boot from Jack Erwin. If they fit you, they're not bad for the price, but that is a pretty big if. For the full review, just check out the written review below and make sure you subscribe. I have so many more boot reviews coming up.